What's up, everybody? I have a quick little conversational relationship secret, a little thing to think about to just make conversations better. In 13 years that I've known Anna, we've probably somehow freakishly successfully raised our voices at each other less than a handful of times. And I would say that's one of the biggest secrets to how good I feel our relationship is and how well we handle some of the most difficult conversations on this planet. And believe me, we have them like everybody else. But I learned a really big lesson when I was going through divorce counseling years ago. So, and one of the things my therapist told me is he said, Ronnie, did you know that once your heart rate reaches a certain beats per minute, I'll just call it like 110, 120, you literally start losing the ability to take in information, because what happens is your heart starts pumping, and the more your heart rate goes up, I just realized I needed to breathe. I'm like, oh, my heart rate's going up, probably because I'm a little nervous shooting videos. Silly me. But as your heart rate goes up, it starts to trigger cortisol, it starts to trigger adrenaline. And so the higher your heart rate goes, it pulls blood from things that aren't super needed. Like at this moment, your body makes a decision. Digestion isn't super important, so it pulls blood even from like your liver. It pulls blood from your brain a lot. So you go about 20%, especially when you kick into fight or flight, about 20% of the blood that's in your brain starts shifting, and it goes to your hands, it goes to your feet, it goes to your extremities. So what happens is you literally, you could call it, you become kind of dumb. You like 20% of the blood leaves your brain. You move out of thinking and you move into responding. And the reason the blood goes to your hands and feet is because it's preparing you for fight or flight, to either run, to escape your problem, or to fight and to face your problem. So he was telling me, he said, Ronnie, literally, no matter what, no matter how wrong you are or right you are, no matter how wrong the other person is or right they are, when both of you start to slowly escalate, you literally lose the ability to hear one another, and you can get nothing accomplished because of the state your heart and body just went into. So his suggestion for me was always to create my own internal thermometer, so I could tell when I'm starting to rise up and I'm starting to lose my own sense of peace, and I'm losing my own, and I can tell like my own tea kettle is starting to like whistle. And the best thing you can do is de-escalate. You can recognize I'm going into that state, and you could go, I realize I'm not going to hear you as well. And what happens too is when the blood goes to your extremities, you literally lose the ability to take in information. You stop listening, and that's why people's eyes get dilated, and that's why when people get real angry, have you ever seen that look people give and they get real intense? When they're in that state, you become more animalistic in the way that you're just thinking of survival. And so what happens in those things is like you look around and your eyes become super focused, and your listening kind of dies down. And so when your partner's trying to say something to you, you're going to distort it, and you're not going to hear it as it really is. So one of the biggest things you can do is for your own self is find a way to create your own internal meter compass, so you can tell when your heart rate is reaching a place that the conversation won't be successful past that point. And here's a very simple application of this. My wife and I, you can do this for the good or for the bad. My wife and I have had this long-running thing where maybe we're having dinner with another couple, or we're hanging out with somebody, and then we get in our own car or we go home, and then we have to try to be honest with each other. And I might share with Anna, she might share with me, hey, I feel like you kind of like interrupted me a bit tonight. And then I could be like, yeah, I actually felt like you interrupted me quite a bit tonight. And that had been something just over the years we always realized we did, especially when we were with other people. And then when we're with each other, we were doing that. And a while ago, me and her both stopped and realized, like, let's ask ourselves this question: why are we interrupting each other? Is it really because we're selfish? Is it because we're impatient? Is it because we think what we have to say is more important than the other person? And we both came to this really beautiful realization, and it's so simple. No, that isn't the reason. The real reason we're interrupting each other is we're excited. We both get excited. And what happens is this idea wells up and they're like, oh, and we don't want to lose it. And then we think it'll go away if we let the other person talk, or we think they might change the course of direction, and then my brain will follow, and then all of a sudden I'll lose this thought I had that was really good. So what we both had to do is kind of forgive each other for all the ways we thought, you're cutting me off because you think you have more important things to say. You think you're smarter than me. You think you're impatient, or we had to kind of remove those bad things and really just realize, like, no, it's actually just excitement. And even when we get with other people, now picture it, 2 people in the room, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in the room. The more people in the room, it's like the energy can just go up and everyone can start to, and here's what we noticed. You start to talk faster, you start to talk louder, and it's showing everyone's heart rates are going up. So something I did to Anna is I said, hey, why don't we do this? I'm just gonna try this for a while. I promise, no matter how excited I get, I'm gonna try to breathe slow from my belly, and I'm gonna slow down the pace of my talking. I'm gonna slow it down. And if you end up interrupting me because you're excited, I get it, I forgive you, it's no big deal. Let's just create a little gesture where if I'm talking to you and I slow down, I wanna be able to have these conversations that, I don't want conversations to stress you out. I don't want them to stress me out. I wanna be able to have long conversations that are enjoyable. And one way to do that is to slow down. Slow down your pace of breathing and really believe my partner is not, when I'm talking, they're not gonna interrupt me. They're gonna give me the space. And so we've created a little mantra with our kids in our house too. And we say this to one another, when you talk, I will listen. That's a little thing we all say to each other in our home. And we're working on it. We're not perfect at it by any means. But if I'm talking slow and I'm trying to share a thought and then I get interrupted, the little gesture we give one another is I just put my hand on my heart. I just put my hand on my heart and I just say to Anna, I wasn't finished. And you don't have to be mean. You don't have to be domineering. You don't have to get angry at each other. You can. It's normal because we have a lot of history and we have a lot of repeated behaviors with each other. However, to just simply come up with a little gesture, this is what me and Anna have been doing with each other, is when we're talking and whenever I wasn't finished, I simply put my hand on my heart and I just say, and I might just smile and wait for them. And a lot of times Anna will notice my hand and she'll go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm good. Go ahead, and she'll back off. It's actually been fun. It's been bonding. It's been respectful. It's been such a nice way to have conversations, because it's like, I also notice we talk fast and get all excited and we rush, and we cut each other off because we think the other person is gonna cut us off. So the more and more Anna and I learn to slow down, take breaths, share what we're feeling and thinking to each other, and when my thought is finished, even the other person listening and going, oh, okay, do you have more to say? Is your thought finished? And they're really making sure you're done. And then you're like, oh, thanks for sharing that. That makes me think of this. Hey, earlier, what you were saying a minute ago, that made me think of this. And now you give each other the space to not rush. It's such a gift. It's not only good when you're having to talk about heavy, tough things and sad things and what areas you disagree on. I would say in those conversations, it's even more important. It's so important. You can have the most tough conversations on the planet if you remain calm. Remain calm and remind yourself, this person's on my team. This person wants the best for me. I want the best for them. I can say very straightforward, even painful things in a very calm way, where I'm not trying to hurt or get even. She's not trying to hurt or get even. You can learn to, like, the tone of voice, the pace of your voice, your facial expressions, your body language. Is everything intense? Or can you tap into your belly? Can you tap in lower? Can you get out of here? Don't breathe all in here. Can you settle in, and can you just learn that by simply keeping your heart rate down, you'll be amazed. You can say some pretty honest things to someone from a calm heart rate. And if their heart rate is calm, their cortisol and their adrenaline levels are low and their barriers will be down. So what you're really paying attention to is you're not triggering one another. You're not trying to trigger that fight or flight response in one another. So if you can think about that, if you can really ponder what it means to have slower, gentler, calmer, non-rushed conversations that are respectful, where you give each other the sign. Come up with your own sign. But the thing is, I've seen so many couples, they kind of do it, but they just nag at each other and they pick at each other and they insult each other and they compete. And we get into these petty kind of junior high, high school emotional dynamics with one another. And we move back and forth from dominance to submission, dominance to submission. And when this person's dominating, this person doesn't like it and they want to reverse it. So the person who's feeling submitted, they try to dominate and they try to push the other person down. But again, my therapist at the time gave me the best picture, and he said, you either have dominance or submission, or you have adult to adult. And he said, you want to, there's two fingers, sorry, but you want to have consenting, mutual, respectful, adult to adult conversations, not parent to kid, dominant to submissive. You want to get out of this teeter-totter, and you want to speak adult to adult, calmly, fairly, come up with a little simple signal to let someone know I wasn't finished. It's a kind way to just be, instead of being like, oh babe, you're interrupting me, instead of getting all mad, yeah, stay there. When I went through my divorce, I realized how badly I fucked that all up, and how badly I did not know how to do that in my first marriage. And she's a great dear friend now, and we've worked through so much together, but I had to learn so much moving into my second marriage. And I would say I took that such to heart. And that to me is like a compass, a dedication to go, no matter what, conversations don't go well when I escalate and when they escalate. They're not productive, they're not successful. I don't feel heard, they don't feel heard. So you know what? No matter how right I think I am, I will not go above. I create a meter in myself. I will not go above here. And I know this person's committed to it too. So there's a little conversational relationship tip. It's on my mind often, but God, I just think it could help so many people have better conversations, get along with their friends, partners, coworkers better. Again, I'm not perfect at it, but it's something to think about, and it's something to guide you, and to just check in every now and then. How am I doing with it? And even ask your partner sometimes, like, hey, how have I been lately? I told you I wanted to talk slower. I told you I wanted to be calmer. Am I doing it? Do you feel it? Check in with your partner. Let your partner help you be a better person. Yeah, man. You guys are on a team. And you can really help each other. So learn from your partner. Take deep breaths. Have calmer conversations. Yeah. Lots of love. Love you so much. Have a great day.